Lateral support. Ownership of land includes the right to have land supported in its natural state by adjoining land. Landowners can be liable for excavations that cause damage to adjacent land. Land in natural state is strict liability, so defendant owner is strictly liable if excavations damage plaintiff's adjacent land. So the defendant is liable even if he uses the utmost care. Buildings on land. For defendant to be held strictly liable for damage to buildings, plaintiff must show his land would have collapsed in its natural state. So this is absent buildings on the land due to defendant's excavations. Negligence. If defendant is negligent in excavating, he is liable for loss or damage to adjacent land and buildings, even if it would not have collapsed in its natural state. Subadjacent support. Underground subadjacent structures must support surface structures existing when the subsequent estate was created. Subadjacent structures include parking garages, tunnels, mines, etc. Liability. Strict liability. Subadjacent owners are strictly liable for failure to support surface land and pre-existing surface structures. Negligence. Subsequent owners are negligent for failure to support subsequent constructed buildings. Water rights and water courses. Land bordering water courses or natural or artificial bodies of water, lakes and rivers is governed by either the Riparian Doctrine or the Prior Appropriation Doctrine. So the Riparian Doctrine, water belongs to those who own the land bordering the water course. Those theories are 1, reasonable use theory, which is the majority. The riparian owners share rights to reasonable use and are liable to other owners if their use unreasonably interferes with other owners' use. So the balance is utility use versus gravity of harm. 2, natural flow theory, which is the minority. The riparian owners may be enjoined for any use resulting in a substantial or material reduction of others' water quality or veracity. Under both theories, natural uses such as household use prevail over artificial uses such as for manufacturing or irrigation. Prior appropriation doctrine. Water rights are originally acquired by actual use. So priority of beneficial use is determines the rights to water. For example, the first individual to make beneficial use of water, productive use, has superior legal right to its use. Groundwater. Water beneath the surface, not confined to known channels such as water in wells or natural aquifilters. Different states use different approaches. Most common are reasonable use. So this is used in many eastern states, and then there's prior appropriation. This is used in most western states. Surface water. Water from rain, springs, or other runoff that has not yet reached a natural water course. Landowners can generally use surface water as they please, but may be liable for interrupting its flow in a way that impacts other owners. Liability depends on which applies. Natural flow theory, where owners cannot unreasonably alter natural drainage. Then there's common enemy theory. Owners can do anything to change drainage or combat flow unless it causes unnecessary damage to others' land. Then there's the reasonable use theory, which is utility of use, is balanced against the gravity of harm from the use. Zoning power. Government may enact laws to reasonably control land use, which is what the cities, the counties must be authorized by the Enabling Act. Limitation is that zoning ordinances must reasonably be related to the public welfare, not racially discriminatory, not violate constitutional or federal statutory rights, the First Amendment, or Fair Housing Act. Variances. Landowners can get government permission to be exempt or vary from literal restrictions of a zoning ordinance. So the requirements to qualify for a variance, a landowner must show 1, undue hardship, and 2, that the variance will not be contrary to public welfare. Non-conforming use. A once lawful existing use for property, now deemed non-conforming under new zoning laws. Government can eliminate a use all at once, so zoning out unless just compensation is paid. Government may provide the landowner with amortization, whereby government will make payments to the landowner over a reasonable set period of time until the landowner recoups the value of the non-conforming use. Special use permit. Certain property use requires special use permit, even when zoning generally allows the type of use. So hospitals and drive-throughs in commercial zoning districts. Exactions. Condition for government approval of new development. Condition is usually a payment or gift property to government to offset the development's demand on public services. Due to population increase from new housing developments, government will have to install new bus stops and traffic lights in surrounding areas. Government can seek some exaction or payment from the developer. Requirements. Exactions are unconstitutional unless they satisfy the following. 1, a nexus, so there must be a rational relationship or nexus between the exaction sought by the government and the burden on public facilities. And 2, proportionality, so exaction must be reasonable. It must reasonably relate to nature and scope to impact the development. Then there are conflict of laws in real property. Real property is subject to the law of the jurisdiction where it is situated. So this is a dispute over property in California is generally governed by California laws. This applies to the disposition of real property, whether by descent, deed, or other method. Contracts related to real property generally are governed by the law of the place where the property is situated. So traditional conflict of law rules may apply if property is merely incidental to a contract and the contract is of a personal nature, such as a license.